Pool is officially finished, done, after this Jubilee debate where he stormed off. He was debating this young guy, man, and it just didn't look good. The guy made him look real stupid. Now he's doing like these press runs. He's doing everything he can do on his channel to save face, where he's saying that he didn't really take it serious. Now remember, he's labeled like this hardcore alt-right or right conservative, where he says that he's like mid-left conservative. He's like he's basically a liberal, right? He followed Bernie Sanders' views, but he's been like really alt-right adjacent. He's been conservative adjacent because of his views, and he frequently criticizes the Democratic Party, which I do as well. But his views are more far right leaning. So now in this debate, he didn't look real good at all.
I haven't been young for a minute.
Now, slow down with that. Listen, I think it's really quick. The I condemn is a really cheap cop-out. That's not going to work.
It's not an argument.
Because the people around us are not low IQ, like your average viewer. It's important to recognize.
Make an argument.
So I'm about to.
You don't have one? Is that it? If you want to be insults, we can go for insults. And
I'm about to.
We can rap.
I'm about to.
You want to rap?
Stop delaying my time. So it's important to recognize that simply I condemn is not sufficient when the Republican Party has created a permission structure for individuals to go out and do violence
like what?
Against, I'm about to tell you, with impunity. Immigration and Customs Enforcement is a good example.
Law enforcement.
The Trump administration, they
violated
electoral
process.
They lost in the courts 10,000 times, right?
That's not true.
It is true.
10,000 times.
Yeah, they lost 10,000 times.
I'm sure it would be like
10,000 American citizens. And guess what happened to the individuals that carried out those? What happened to them?
What happened to them?
Have they been prosecuted? Any investigations? Do you know?
I believe they have not.
Why? It's almost as if when you commit violence,
you're wrong.
You're going to be protected. That's what's going on. That's why Kristi Noem went out and said that Alex Preddy was a domestic terrorist. That's why Stephen Miller said the same thing. And everybody in the entire Republican Party apparatus is echoing those talking points. Because whenever there's violence, they don't condemn it. They condone it, they congratulate it, and they pardon it.
Law enforcement, duly elected by a population that voted in plurality for ICE citizens, which sometimes, yes, absolutely. And
they voted for ICE citizens, really?
Yes.
And see, you could tell this guy ain't that bright. So he's being pressed, and he doesn't know what to do. So he goes and says that the people on the far right voted for Trump so they can unalive these people. Why would you even say something like that? So if I was a part of that party, I would be pissed with Tim Pool, right? I wouldn't want to be nowhere near Tim Pool. I wouldn't want to do anything with Tim Pool, because even if that's something that they voted for to do, they wouldn't come out here and immediately say that, right? But he goes and says it because now he's in his ego, right? And the young guy's pressing him because he's one of these guys that comes online. You know, he says a whole bunch of things that his people want to hear, and he gains a large following. He makes a lot of money, right? But now he's being pressed by this young guy who he may be far left adjacent or left leaning, but he's pressing him in a debate with everything ain't even facts, but he's just pressing him, and Tim don't know what to do. So Tim sneaks. Tim's going to admit to being a W. Like this whole thing is just a debacle. It's crazy. Check it out.
Do you?
The average Republican, I don't think they're that crazy.
Who said the average Republican would vote? But do you not believe that there are people in this country that would vote for ICE to harm people?
Is this your argument?
Do you believe?
This is terrible, Tim.
So you think not a single person in this country wants to harm illegal immigrants?
What's the relevance? We're talking about the fact that there is a top-down approach by Republicans like Donald Trump.
Can I ask you the question again? Can you answer the question?
And allow it to happen, foment violence in this country.
Can you answer
the question? And you're running
question?
cover for it.
Actually, you just did.
No, I didn't.
See, I'm pointing out
ICE violence. You're saying that people vote for it or whatever.
You don't think that there's just voting for ICE to go and harm migrants?
Are you saying that white supremacists voted for Donald Trump so they could kill migrants?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good to know. Supremacists make up part of the Republican Party, and Donald Trump's doing their bidding.
Yes, I certainly believe they do.
So when you listen to this debate, both of them are on both sides, far right, far left. So the young guy, he's saying that they elected Donald Trump so he can come in and unalive immigrants and use ICE to unalive. And I don't fully believe that. I believe that they have an agenda. The Democrats have an agenda of bringing in as many immigrants as they can to create a larger voting bloc for Hispanics, where they can basically just pushing us to the side, and they're doing everything for Hispanics. Where the Republicans had a different agenda, and they're trying to push some of these immigrants out the country. So there was already a fight going on between the radical right and the radical left, and all you got now is this young guy. He's been bred up and trained by the radical left. and he's spewing a lot of radical left talking points. Not just left, radical, hardcore radical left talking points when you hear him talk. Tim Pool, he tries to come and says that he's a moderate liberal, but he's not. He's really a hardcore conservative in disguise. He just, hold on a second. He's just a hardcore liberal. He's a hardcore conservative in disguise. And you're sitting here now watching them argue both sides of the point. If you study the history of the fight between these two, I showed you that there's been unalivings in Minnesota. Yeah, Congress people unalive. The situation with Charlie Kirk. I mean, this thing is just ongoing, right? And it's very, very, very violent.
These people come out and go, Tim's a bootlicker for defending us. I'm like, no, you misunderstand. It's my boots. It's mine. I voted for them. I'm wearing the boot. I'm stomping on the ground. I ain't licking anybody. I'm clapping for these people that I said, please go out and enforce the law. And anybody else who's cheering for it, who voted for it too, we're all wearing the boots. You're the one crying.
So Tim Pool, he supports this MAGA thing, Make America Great Again. Because again, a lot of these W folks, they feel like the only reason why black people, black foundational black Americans, and any other groups of color that's over there, right? Groups of color that come into this country as immigrants, the only reason why you have rights because they have to dumb themselves down and give it to you, right? That's why they were saying that we want to make America great again, and we're not ashamed of being W's, right? So, and you got to pay attention. When they say that, it's a shame because in order for them to be in power or walk with their head up, they got to oppress everybody else. Right? This is why you have the president in office and you have these people running around acting a double dog fool. Right? They're just acting crazy because that's what they feel like they have to in order to stay in power. Right? Equality is illegal. And this is the way that they operate. The Democrats is really related to them too. They just come a different way. They put their arm around you while the other person drives the thing in your back. The conservatives tell you what you are to your face. Right? So in this debate, I'm laughing because I'm listening to both sides, but Tim Pool, he's not intelligent enough with this guy on the radical left to have a conversation with him. So this guy's just knocking him all over the ring. Uppercuts, right hooks to the body, left hook to the chin. He doing all kinds of stuff. Then he mocked Tim Pool and put a hat on his head. Tim Pool got mad. He was embarrassed because he couldn't keep up, and he got up and walked off.
The U.S. academics describe the period that we're in as civil strife, meaning there's a criteria of death that has occurred for political reasons over the past year or years, for which the next phase would be civil war. However, we'll make my point, tracking towards it, I've not said that it will happen, although there have been many people who have said that we are in a cold civil war or some kind of cultural civil war. I always caveat because I don't actually have a strong prediction.
First of all, you do have a strong prediction if you've been saying this since 2019. There's 42.
Reading articles about
people
it,
can look this up. There's 42 of your titles that have the word Civil War in it with big fonts on the front.
They sure do.
So why is that? It's sensationalist. It's easy to get clicks on that. There's a reason why you say it because it's very profitable for your business.
Not necessarily.
But
we have 1,600 episodes of just IRL.
There comes a point where people stop taking your predictions seriously.
Are you going to make an argument, or are you mad at me?
I'm not mad at you.
Okay, then let's make an argument about whether or not we are tracking. No. If you're making an argument, you don't like my thumbnails, or you say my name over and over again.
I'm saying that you say bull to get money, but what I really think is
let me ask you a question.
The predictions.
Let me ask you a question you can't answer.
I will agree with you that there's increased polarization. I would attribute a lot of that to people being specifically online.
Let me ask.
There's a lot less interaction with people that are in different camps.
Let me ask you a question.
But you're going to sit here and tell me that we're way more polarized than Hamilton and Aaron Burr, who share with their disagreements. You're going to tell me that Andrew Jackson, who's the sitting president,
do you want to have a conversation, or are you just going to be angry?
Not polarization.
Why was Aaron Daniels chest twice?
Sorry?
Why was Aaron Daniels
I'm not disagreeing that political violence is taking place in question.
You say Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr, but then when I ask you a question about an assassination, you defer.
You can say that
Let me
there's
ask you
a civil
a question.
war every year and it doesn't happen. And
I never said there was.
It just hasn't happened yet.
Let me ask you a question.
Or if it does happen, you say, see, I've had it all along.
Let me ask you a question.
You are the same thing as the Christian rapture people who say that the rapture's coming every year, and when it doesn't happen, it's
do you want a soapbox? Do you want me to get you a soapbox?
It's really
I can leave.
easy.
You want me to go?
It's really easy to do what you do. It's really easy to do what you do. You literally, Civil War is happening next year. Civil War is happening next year. It's coming. Make sure you subscribe to Timcast. Continue to watch my videos, please. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram. It's easy to do what you do, bro. All right, Mason.
Now, this is my issue because that young man, he's also a victim as well, but he doesn't realize it because he's spewing a lot of crap too. If you sit back, take the emotion out, and you listen to them, right, when they talk, they're talking about violence that's happening on both sides of the aisle, both sides between both parties. I'm talking about people getting knocked down, right? And the young guys arguing about whether you guys are more violent than we are. No, all of them are. They just have different approaches as to the way that they do things. And we've been calling this thing out the whole time. I'm very critical of the Democratic Party. I'm very critical of the Republican Party. Both of those parties have been a colossal failure to my people. They've been liars, and it's been nothing but a failure. Since the 1877 compromise, all the way up to the New Deal, all the way up to the New Deal, all the way up through World War II, when we was promised jobs, so we fled to the North during World War II, and a lot of the husbands went off to fight wars, and you see what happened to us in those inner cities, right? All the way up through the 60s, during the civil rights thing. Man, we've been moving around and was led astray by both these parties. We ain't friends to none of them. So that young guy talking, he ain't talking on behalf of us. In regards to Tim Pool and his stance over there with MAGA and those far right conservatives, neither one of them are allies. But what the Democrats do is they build these young people up with talking points, and they sick them on the far right conservatives. So he went in and made this guy walk off. But what did you really say that was powerful? Nothing. If you sit back and listen, he didn't eat, but they got a lot of these young college kids that make them believe that the worst people on the planet are the radical conservatives, and the radical left don't do no wrong. They just as wrong and just as dangerous because they come as if they're your friends, right?
I had expressed to at least some of the people there, if anybody wants to do a stunt like they did with Ben Shapiro, I'm going to get up and walk off. Like, forewarning. This is not me, oh no, the show's over. It was basically like my mentality is, and just berated Ben, and Ben just sat there. You create a clip that goes viral on the left, and what does Ben get for being there? And so I said, I'll get up and leave so that the clip's going to go both ways, right?
Right.
I'm not going to sit here and just tolerate a guy screaming in my face. He's going to get his viral clip no matter what he does. I'm going to get mine too. And so I would describe the whole thing as very WWE-esque in that there's a general understanding this is made for TV. It's not really a debate.
Right.
It's gonna be shock content.
Right. Well, that's the thing. When I first saw it, when it started out, I said, like, oh, so it's like they changed my mind and like put in a timer. The difference is, we always, when I would do it, is I wanted people to feel as though they were able to get a fair shake and sit down and have a conversation and explore ideas. That's why I've been very hesitant. They'd reached out. I'm like, it's kind of what I created, changed my mind to not do, because it goes back to the quadrant view, on CNN and Fox News, where it's just trying to score points, and I don't necessarily know how productive that is. The other thing is that's going to favor the left because, generally speaking, you may find some idiots on the right, of course, but you're not going to find people who are going to be as aggressive in general and just character assassinate, because they'll try and present their ideas. So it does seem like it would inherently favor the bad faith left sort of click or clip current climate.
Well, for a long time, I had said on my show, like, I would never do something like that, but there's always a logical and mathematical component to all of these things I'm doing. So I'll just keep it really simple. And here's the honest truth. Forcing a liberal publication to refer to me as a moderate and give me an opportunity to say things they normally wouldn't let me say was the principal reason for doing it. That is, I've got some friends who don't work in politics. There's others. I play poker. I'm a skateboarder. I've been at big tournaments in poker. Actually, just cashed one the other day. And so the issue the challenge that I have is the cultural dominance of the fringe left and the lies they produce has inhibited my ability to do certain business things.
Right.
So when I go to somebody who is like a big sponsor and they say, look, there's too much negative press about you in this area, you don't counter it. I say, okay. So when Jubilee reaches out, I'm like, they ask me, we'll do one conservative versus, 20 progressives. And I said, well, if you call me a conservative, conservatives are going to get mad because I'm not.
Right.
They say, how do you describe yourself? Say moderate. So now we've got Jubilee posting Tim Pool the moderate. One of the reasons these liberals and lefties are mad is they're like, how dare you call Tim Pool a moderate? But
right.
when I go do a pitch to a new sponsor in an unrelated, non-political field, and they say, "Here's our concerns on the politics." I say, "Here's Jubilee saying I'm a moderate." They'll go, okay." So it's creating more. So another reason. I recently played a big poker tournament. I do these things so that I get press out.
So there you have it. This guy's talking about sponsorships, and he does this for sponsors. All they care now about with the internet is just salacious stuff, man. Say the craziest thing you can say. They're going to co-sign it and endorse it. You have a following. That's it. Nobody really cares about politics for real. Everything is just theatrical and about the look. Even your president, he doesn't do anything presidential. Back in those days, we already know what those presidents was about. But they walked out and act like they was presidential. Now everything is just whatever. We do whatever we want. We say whatever we want. That's just what it is. Hi, Mom. And we do everything for the camera, right? So all of it was performative, right? It's all performative and how good I can look and how bad I can make you look. That's just what it's about. It's not about the truth. It's not about really edifying or helping nobody. And he just told you what it's about. What his sponsorships told him, you're getting too much negative press here, what not to talk about. He just told you, right? He just told you, right? So they get into the salacious arguments about what Donald Trump was elected for to do with immigrants by using ICE. All that is salacious stuff to get your attention, man, and lock you in. So they can just lock you into bullcrap. Jubilee, all that stuff is a part of it all, man. But if you listen to him, he just told you what this thing is about, man. He making a lot of money online telling people what they want to hear, man. But y'all let me know what y'all think, man. If you made it this far in the video, hit that like button, subscribe to Street Media TV. Leave your comments in the comment section. Remember, I love y'all. Till the next time. Peace.